So Eminem has a new documentary out called Stans. It's on Paramount Plus. Go check it out. You know, he talks about Stan culture, but also talks about his life, which is really, really interesting. So go check that out. I have to admit, when he first popped up with My Name Is, it scared me. Because, well, first of all, the one lost element about Eminem is that he's really funny. The fact that this rapper that I never heard of was able to parody so many different people, from Bill Clinton to Johnny Carson. It was absolutely amazing. It was like, who is this guy? And because he's so, in these interviews, he's so serious and he looks like he's angry most of the time. But he's actually a funny dude. So the reason that song scared me so much was because I said, man, he's really good. Like, you know, the last time you had a white guy that popped up that crossed over this big, that was a rapper, was Vanilla Ice. And we all know how that turned out. And it turned out great. Even though everybody loved Ice Ice Baby at first. You know, people who say they didn't love it at first are lying. Like, people was really into it. And then when it came out, the video was cool. Then all this other stuff came out about Robbie Van Winkle. It's like, oh, man. So the thing about M was, the fear for me was, man, if this guy is this good, then record companies going to start signing more white rappers. And then next thing you know, black folks are going to lose hip hop just like they lost jazz and rock. And it wasn't anything against M. I just knew how talented he was. I knew how the record industry has done things in the past. When they find a great white hope, so to speak, like an Elvis, they just tend to take over the genre. So that was my only fear. And plus he got the cosign from Dr. Dre. And it's like, oh no. This ain't gonna be good. But then, so the first album was really great. Guilty Conscience was really good, featuring Robert Culp from I Spy and Greatest American Hero. I said, man, this album was pretty good. Not the greatest album, but pretty good. And then the Marshall Mathers LP came out, and I was like, oh, it's over. This guy is actually better on the second album. The Way I Am. Marilyn Manson pops up in that. Because he had gone through a lot of stuff between that first album and that second album. And his rhyming still got even better. And then we hit with Stan. And Stan, to me, Stan is like one of the greatest hip hop songs ever. I don't care. M is white. I don't care. You can't, if you can't admit that Stan is one of the greatest hip hop songs ever, man, you really don't understand hip hop. There's a handful of songs when you listen to it for the first time, you are shocked by the meaning of it. Tupac's Me and My Girlfriend, not the Jay-Z version, the original Me and My Girlfriend. The way Pac rhymed on that, and then at the end you learn that's about a gun, that his girlfriend is a gun, is amazing. Common, when you first time you heard I Used to Love Her, and he was talking about hip-hop the whole time, genius metaphors. And then you get Stan and that storytelling, like it was cinematic. It's like Ice Cube at his peak, how Ice Cube just used to be able to write stories and rhymes, and that's what M did with Stan. And then the video, because you got the sample of Dido, and it's just everything. And it's a long video too. But then it kind of shows you how intense fans are. And Stan at that point meant like someone's crazy. That's what Stan meant. And then somewhere along the way, it got hijacked. Just like conservatives hijack woke. Young folks hijack Stan. And now everybody's proud to be stands for somebody. Oh, I'm a stand for Beyonce. I'm a stand for Demi Lovato. It's like I'm a stand for Taylor Swift. And it's like, no, that's not good. That means you're way too intense. And I really do think, and we've seen it, and no offense to these groups of like Beehive, Swifties, like if they don't like something that you said about somebody, they will attack you. And that's not cool, man. Because before, like, if you were a fan of Michael Jackson, maybe you weren't a fan of Prince. Or if you're a fan of Prince, sometimes you weren't a fan of Michael Jackson. I mean, I was a fan of both. And I think there was a lot of people who were fans of both. But it wasn't like people really went after the Michael Jackson fans because they're Prince fans, or the Michael Jackson fans really went after the Prince fans. Like, no, it's just, sometimes we like stuff and sometimes we don't. Like Prince sometimes didn't make a great album. Love Sexy was not a great album, but you just didn't act like, the way stands are today, no matter if someone makes a lackluster album, it's the greatest thing ever. And even Prince fans will say like, Love Sexy was good. And some fans might actually like it more than others, but they don't say like, oh, it's the greatest album ever. Oh, it's no skips. It's like, no, it was okay. But you can't do that. You can't say like Beyonce made an off album. You can't say that Taylor Swift made an off album, or you get attacked. And that's the type of stuff that Eminem was even talking about. His stand was just insane as far as like copying M's thoughts about Kim, which is ridiculous, crazy. But yeah, this stan culture, man, it's not. People make fun of it, but it's kind of nothing's dangerous happen in stan culture. It's just really intense and kind of scary sometimes. But the documentary, I saw clips of the documentary, and he talks about Proof. He goes, he's in Detroit, and it's amazing watching the evolution of Eminem. Like Eminem, 20 years ago, he was a mess. I mean, he was constantly fighting with his mom. He was constantly fighting with Kim. He was abusing himself with drugs. I mean, he's always picking fights with everybody. He was in and out of court. Like, if you weren't around that time period, you had no idea. You had no idea. And he had so much power back then. It was at MTV when he was at the VMAs, and it was just all these dudes who looked like him. It was a army of white guys looking like him with the peroxide hair and the jeans. I remember when I used to go out. I would hit these clubs sometimes, these top 40 clubs, man. Just dudes with peroxide, white dudes with peroxide hair and jeans, man, white tees. It's like, oh my God, this Marshall Mathers all over the place. But he was going through a lot. And Complex, a year ago, they had Marshall Mathers, talking to Eminem. And people were saying like, well, the AI wasn't that good on that because, he was talking to himself. The young version, the old version. People say, oh, the AI wasn't that great. Don't pay attention to the AI. Pay attention to the dialogue. Like where Marshall Mathers is at today, you would have never saw that 20 years ago. And just the way Eminem thought, a Slim Shady, the whole Slim Shady character, the way he talked, the way he acted, how sophomoric he was a totally different guy. It would be completely horrible if Marshall Mathers was the same guy he was 20 years ago. But he's matured. And even after that, like in between that period, you hit the 2010s period where he's making these rap sing-along songs with Rihanna and Skylar Grey. It's like, man, I don't think he gets enough credit. How talented he is, I don't think he gets enough credit for the hits that he produced. I think sometimes when we do the GOAT conversation and who's the best ever, I think sometimes he kind of gets hurt because he is a white guy, and people want to say, well, we don't want to say like this white dude is like the greatest rapper ever. And if you don't want to put him in your Mount Rushmore, that's fine. But you got to acknowledge that Marshall Mathers is like one of the really great MCs out there. Like he's like Nas, like he loves writing. He loves the word. Like he's always trying to change his cadence. He's always trying to figure out new ways to phrase different words using synonyms and dictionaries. That's the one thing I hate about this younger era is that they don't pick up a dictionary. They don't. I said this a long time ago. Drewski made a video some time ago where he was making fun of rappers who use big words. And again, you have to use the biggest words, but it's nice if it's more than just Dr. Seuss. Like there's a lot of elementary rhyme skills today when it comes to male rappers. Not everybody, but the ones that's put out there. It is sickening how they don't evolve as rhymers. There's no reason. At this point, we should look at M and Nas as like, it's time to retire. Because you guys, these new rappers are far better than you guys. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of young male rappers who are better still than Eminem and Nas. And again, I love the fact that M still use a pen and a pad. Everybody feels like now they gotta have a phone and looking at their phone, or they just go into the studio like they're Jay-Z and just rhyme on the top of their head. Nah, man. Like Drake can do the thing with the phone because Drake is actually pretty good. Jay-Z can rap off the top of his head because he's a savant. Most of y'all are not Jay-Z. There's nothing wrong getting a pad or a pencil and just writing that stuff out. There's nothing wrong maybe getting your laptop and typing that stuff out and pulling out the lyrics. There's nothing wrong with that. Work on your rhyme skills. So if anything else, if you're a rapper or non-rapper, go watch the Stan's documentary, Eminem, on Paramount Plus. And what do you think? What do you think is Eminem's most underrated song? We can always talk about the hits, but what do you think is his most underrated song?